YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, especially Zoom. Welcome to another Bible study. Very excited about today's Bible study because it's going to open our eyes to God's sometimes original plans and God's backup plans and things of that nature. So, man, it's so much to cover, but of course, Bible study is always for believers, and we are always in the business of lifting up Jesus so he is magnified, glorified, and that's how people are drawn to him. So I hope today's Bible study will draw a lot of people to Jesus. And so man, when we get into this, it's going to be some nuggets dropping. So y'all know how we always do. We introduce Zoom. They always helping us. They are the pro Bible scholars. So say what's up to the world, Zoom.
What's up?
Hello, world. Happy Sabbath.
What's up?
Y'all hear it? Don't they?
4719.
What? Don't they sound like scholars? I know they sound like scholars to me. So we're gonna get into this today. We're gonna jump straight into it. I was gonna do a example today, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna jump straight into the topic. So today's topic is, how was Jesus supposed to die? And so we're gonna go through the Bible and see this concept of how Jesus was supposed to die, opposed to how he actually died. So I named it "Let Us Unite, Beat God, and Execute Him." Let us unite, beat up God, and execute him. All right, y'all. When y'all hear that, right? We know how Jesus actually died. So that takes a certain type of mindset and heart to actually beat someone up and then like beat them into a pulp, right? And then kill them. Is that right? I mean, unalive them. Y'all know what I'm saying. To like actually like there's not many examples in the Bible that we have of that. We have some, but there's not a lot. That's like cruelty, right? That's real cruel to like beat somebody up and then say, okay, because think about this, what I'm about to say. If anybody ever got in a fight, right, and you were getting the upper hand on somebody, if you had any type of morality, right, you would kind of like take it easy, right? You might not stomp them, you might not stomp somebody's head. Y'all understanding what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah, they be like, man, all right, that's enough. Somebody come in, that's enough. Y'all got that? No more moral people. I was kind of moral when the word I was kind of moral. So, if we had the upper hand and maybe was jumping somebody or something, like somebody be like, nah, man, that's enough. Nobody know what I'm talking about?
There used to be honor amongst thieves.
It used to be, right?
Yeah, that's that thrown in the towel situation.
Yeah.
I definitely know what you're talking about, Brother Jim.
Come on now, you know what I'm saying? So when you have morality in you, you kind of have some kind of, barrier or fence to be like, all right, that's enough. So we're going to get into this concept today. And what I want to do is I want to pull out a lot of things from the word. If I haven't spoken to you yet, sorry, how you doing? All those good things. But we got to go straight into the word, because when we see this concept, we're going to it's going to open our eyes. So let's go over to Genesis 22. And so I'll ask this question real quick. Who's the person in the Bible that is a good parallel to Messiah's death? Who is someone in the Bible that's a good parallel to Messiah's death?
Stephen.
Who?
Apostle Stephen.
All right. So what about the Old Testament? Who's a good parallel? Who's the father of faith?
Isaac.
John the Baptist.
There you go, evangelist. Isaac. Y'all don't remember? Let's go to Genesis 22 real quick. So we know the story of Abraham. We're not going to get into the story of Abraham, but we know that God promised him a son, and the right son that he had was Isaac, right? And so we're going to see something real quick because he's a good parallel. So let's go to Genesis 22. Somebody start in Genesis 22, read 1 and 2. Genesis 22, 1 and 2.
Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you.
All right. So God tells Abraham, yo, what did God tell Abraham, y'all? Let's talk about it for a second. What do you say? We just read it.
Sacrifice his son.
Okay, sacrifice your son, your only son, whom you what?
Who love.
You love, your only son whom you love. We know Abraham had another son, right? Where? Wait. Hold on. Where the scholars?
Yeah,
Ishmael.
Isaac and Jacob.
Huh?
Ishmael.
Right.
Yeah, he had another son with Hagar.
Man, y'all just waking up, man. TikTok, what's up? How y'all doing today? Y'all up? Y'all woke? Come on, y'all. This simple stuff, right? So Ishmael was born before Isaac, right? Yes. So God tells Abraham, go take your son whom you love, your only son, right? And sacrifice him as what?
A burnt offering.
A burnt offering. Who can hear clearly? Who hearing that clearly? We got to talk about this for 1 second. Nah, we ain't gonna talk about that for 1 second. Actually, we might. What is a burnt offering? What was it for?
Sacrifice.
Sin. To cover sin.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that word? It start with an A.
Atone.
Atonement.
So a burnt offering is for atonement, right? Yay, nay. A burnt
Yes,
offering is
yes,
for atonement.
Yes.
Yes.
So God is telling Abraham to sacrifice his son as a what? Atonement. For whose sin?
Would it be for his own, for the son he had outside of wedlock?
There you go. There go them juices flowing. Y'all, everybody heard that? So that goes into that concept. God does not just what? Erase sin. There's a whole process in how God deal with it. Or is everybody following so far? Because we're about to learn a lot today, y'all. I'm telling you, it's gonna be you're gonna learn a lot in a little bit of time. All right. So God tells Abraham, take him to where though, y'all? Where? All these things matter. Y'all know why I'm making a big deal of this. All of this stuff matter. I hope you take notes. If you don't take notes, that we can go back. Go back and watch it. What do you say?
To a mountain.
I will show you.
No, yeah. Go read it again. Read verse 2. Y'all gotta hear it close. Read verse 2.
Region of Moor.
Where?
The region of Moor.
Moriah, right? Y'all ever heard of Mount Moriah, right? Yay. Never. Oh, wow. We're gonna learn a lot. The Bible is full of things of God's operation. So watch this. He said, go to the region of Moriah, sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will tell you about. Y'all peep that? Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah, sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. No one on here has heard of Mount Moriah. I need to know.
Well, I've heard of it, but I haven't got deep into it or nothing.
All right, that's gonna be very important. Did everybody just hear what I said? Veterans, nobody ever heard of Mount Moriah. Y'all heard of Mount Zion, right?
Right.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be all important. So today we're talking about how is Jesus supposed to die. So let's keep on reading this story for a little bit. Let's keep reading. Who got it? Genesis 22. Let's read a little bit. Nobody want to
Early-
read? Everybody sleep? Go ahead, Mama Sue.
Early the next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. He took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out for the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you." Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac. And he himself carried the fire and the knife.
Stop right there. Abraham goes to this place God tells him. What does he have? Fire and a knife. How were sacrifices supposed to be made? How do they do it?
On an altar, right?
Kill,
The altar of what? And we can't say that word. We're trying to stay away from that word. The altar of what?
Burnt offerings.
Thank you. The altar of burnt offering. You did what? How did the process work, y'all? Come on. How did the process work? Let's go
Put their
fast.
hand up the fat portion.
What happened?
they will unalive the animal.
So how?
Put their hands on their head and then through the throat real quick, and they'll have a bowl under it to catch all the blood.
So they pierced the animal in their jugular,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That is how the animal, that was how the sacrifice work, right? And then later on, all the burnt offering type stuff happens. Is that correct?
Yes.
Everybody understand that? Yay or nay? If you don't understand that, let me know that right now. So you telling me an animal was not brought to the altar and beat up real bad, huh? The
No,
animal
it was real quick.
wasn't beat real bad and then hung on a cross. That's not how the animal was treated.
No, it was quick and uncruel.
So it wasn't cruel.
No, it was a quick process.
A very quick process, and it wasn't cruel. So Abraham was going to sacrifice his son as what? A burnt offering in what way? Was it cruel?
No.
It was going to be a quick, painless almost way up to go out. Everybody peeping that real quick. Do y'all see the parallel so far? Because we're about to open up the Bible right here. I'm not going to keep reading. It's a lot to read in 1 through 19 actually, but I'm going to start to show some things in the Bible to bring this concept alive. So we're going to go now and check out a few things. Let's go to Leviticus 1 for everybody who kind of don't understand the concept of burnt offering. So go Leviticus 1, somebody read 1 through 4. Leviticus 1 through 4.
I got you, bro. The Lord called to Moses and spoke to him from the tent of meeting. He said, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when anyone among you brings an offering to the Lord, bring as your offering an animal from either the herd or the flock. If the offering is a burnt offering from the herd, you are to offer a male without defect. You must present it at the entrance to the tent of meeting so that it will be acceptable to the Lord. You are to lay your hand on the head of the burnt offering, and it will be accepted on your behalf to make atonement for you."
Did y'all got it now? We covering the bases. Y'all see how that works?
Yes, sir.
So Isaac was supposed to be a burnt offering. Is it possible that God's initial plan was for Messiah to be a burnt offering? What y'all think? Is it possible God's initial plan was for Messiah to be a burnt offering?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
But we know how it happened. So watch this. Now let's go through the word now. Let's open the word and see if this concept is there of how it was supposed to happen when he first came. Let's go to Zechariah real quick. Go to Zechariah 12. And somebody read 10 through 11. And then we're going to go to Zechariah 13, and we're going to read verse 1. So Zechariah 12, 10 and 11. Somebody read it. We're going to read it slow too.
Got you, bro. And I will pour out on the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplication. They will look on me, the one they have pierced.
Stop right there. The one they what?
The one they have pierced.
They will look on me. Who? The inhabitants of Jerusalem. Y'all pay attention to this. This is going to get real good in 1 second. They're going to what? The inhabitants of Jerusalem will look on him, the one they have pierced, and what, bro?
They will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn. On that day, the weeping in Jerusalem will be as great as the weeping of Hadad Rimmon in the plain of Megiddo.
All right, stop right there. Everybody, go get some juice. Let's stimulate your mind. I need y'all to think right now real quick. I need y'all to get really get this. So Jerusalem was supposed to be in what state of shock or mind when Messiah came and was supposedly offered as a burnt offering and pierced? What was supposed to be Jerusalem's posture and mindset?
Mourning and regret.
They were supposed to be mourning and weeping. Do y'all remember when Moses, y'all remember when Moses faded away? What did the whole Jerusalem, what did Israel act like?
They was mourning.
They was mourning. They was weeping. All of them. Oh, I hope y'all hear it because y'all know the end of the story. So I hope you know what God is trying to say. So when Messiah came, Jerusalem, Israel, was supposed to pierce him somewhere. We'll talk about where. Was supposed to pierce him, right? And his sacrifice was supposed to do what? Cause what?
Atonement.
Mourning
And weeping and all these things. Somebody real quick, keep your mark there. Somebody wake up. It's time to wake up, y'all. Somebody go real quick to John 16 verse 20. John 16 verse, somebody grab that real quick.
Very truly I tell you, you will weep and mourn while the world rejoices.
Who is he talking to?
Talking to the disciples.
Oh, his few little disciples. He said, what'd he say, bro?
He said, you will weep and mourn while the world rejoices.
But you're what?
But your grief will turn to joy.
Who is the world that he talking about was going to rejoice?
The religious.
Quote unquote, who is the world that was rejoicing? Israel. They rejoiced when they hung Messiah up. Is that right? They rejoiced?
Yes, sir.
But they were supposed to be what?
Weeping and mourning.
Do y'all hear it? I hope y'all starting to hear right now, God's plan and what we be on, because it's coming again. I need y'all to know. Go ahead, teach.
Oh, I was just about to say it. It sounds like when they finally get rid of the two witnesses, how they will be rejoicing.
Yeah, bro.
Y'all getting the thought patterns and processes that God originally had and opposed to what actually happened? He said the world is going to rejoice. The world he talking about is Israel. They were rejoicing with what they was doing to Messiah. They were supposed to, according to Zechariah, they were supposed to be in what?
Weeping and mourning. And bro, that goes to when he said, Father, I know it's later, but Father, forgive them for they, do not know what they're doing.
They don't even know. They don't even know. They ain't even watched. They ain't even understood the scriptures. They ain't understood prophecy. They don't understand nothing. They don't understand anything that comes from heaven. They don't truly understand anything that comes from heaven. They worldly, but they claim to be spiritual. I hope y'all peeping. Watch this. Now go read Zechariah 13:1. Zechariah 13:1. So we know what 10 and 11 just said.
On that day, a fountain will be open to the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to cleanse them from sin and impurity.
What fountain was supposed to be open? We just talked about it. How was the lamb slain?
They put their hand on the head and to the jugular.
And pierced him in the jugular. And does a fountain of blood pour out?
Yes.
Oh, y'all getting it now?
Yeah.
The fountain, and what was the fountain going to do? Would be open and its inhabitants to cleanse them. How are we cleansed? Through the what?
Through the blood.
Through the blood.
Bro, and it makes sense for when they did pierce him, blood and water came, so the fountain.
But who pierced them?
The soldier.
The Roman soldier.
Are y'all peeping all of this?
Oh,
Cephalpius. Was it Cephalpius?
I don't remember his name.
So let us unite.
Yeah.
The beginning.
Huh? What'd you say, bro?
Let us unite and execute him.
Let us unite. No, wait. Beat up God real bad. Let us unite, beat him up real bad, and then execute him. Go ahead, teach.
Bro, so I'm often even thinking, like, now that you're saying that, like, the Israel was supposed to pierce him, and that would wash them and purify them. But now that the Roman soldiers done did it at that time, it was the passing on to the Gentiles. Is that, am I often even thinking of that?
No, watch this. How do I can always say Muslims, how do they bury their people that die?
As far as I know, they wash their bodies before they
wash them. They it's a process. It's a cleansing process that they do.
Wash them, wrap them,
Wrap them, put them in the ground.
That's right. They don't do no embalming and all that kind of stuff, right?
Within a time frame.
24 to 48 hours.
That's right. Within 48 hours. I think it's 3 days though. You might be right, 48. You know, that's what I told my wife I wanted. If anything, right? But all I'm saying is that's how it's supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was totally opposite of all this stuff. So remember where did God say for Abraham to take Isaac?
Mountain in Moriah.
The mountain in Moriah, right?
I got it.
you catching the teach?
Yes, sir.
But we know where Messiah died. So somebody read John 19:17 real quick. We know where Messiah died. Somebody read that. Who got it?
You said John 19?
17, yeah, 19:17.
Carrying his own cross, he went out to the place of the skull, which in Aramaic is called you know what that is?
Golgotha.
They crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on each side, and Jesus in the middle.
Did y'all just hear that? They took him outside the city.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
Yes, sir.
Do anybody know where Mount Moriah is yet? Anybody? Have you looked it up? Have you figured it out? Because we'll go to it close to the end though. Go ahead, Stead.
I know Solomon and them went there like it was multiple people that was going there, but I'm trying to remember it was in Israel, huh? Jerusalem?
Yeah, but it's more to it. It's more
Okay,
to it.
I'm a dig.
So, you know, we'll get there in a one
According
second.
to Google, it's on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem.
That same spot where
Yeah,
he
that's where he built it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he built. Well, I didn't know that.
Solomon's
but thank you.
temple.
Yeah.
God actually told them where to build the altar and the temple and things of that nature. And it was in the same spot. Man, we'll go in there in a little bit. I'll show y'all in the Bible in a little bit. But did y'all just see where they took them outside of the city? And we'll read that in a little bit. So we got a few more things to work through. Everybody's starting to understand and see God's initial plan, his heart, and what his intention was.
Yeah.
And then when we are immoral, right? We humans in the flesh, we will save a dog, right? And not be cruel to a puppy, but to God, man, y'all hear what I'm saying? All right. Now let's go somewhere else. Y'all ready? Now we in Zechariah 13. We just going to read verse 6. Zechariah 13, just read verse 6. We saw a fountain was supposed to be flowing out, right? A fountain of blood. But watch this. Somebody read Zechariah 13:6.
If someone asks, what are these wounds on your body? They will answer, the wounds I was given at the house of my friends.
What was it supposed to be like? He was supposed to get the wounds where?
At the house of my friends.
He was supposed to be the sacrifice like Isaac, right? On Mount Moriah.
Yep.
And they were supposed to know, and they were supposed to be his friends by knowing his will and will.
But watch this. I was given at the house of my friends. What is the house in Jewish terms? What does the house represent?
Temple.
That's right. The temple. Now, watch this. Go to Matthew 23:38. Matthew 23:38. Check this out. Who got it?
Look, your house is left to you desolate. Your house.
Now let's bring some context to it. So he was supposed to receive the wounds at his friend's house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to. Let's bring some context. Let's read a few of those verses real quick, bro, in Matthew 23.
Got you.
All right, so let's go up to, let me see where we want to start. We don't want to read a lot because we still making the point. So Matthew 23, let's go with 33. And let's start reading there.
Got you. You snakes, you brood of vipers, how will you escape being condemned to hell? Therefore, I am sending you prophets and sages and teachers. Some of them you will unalive and crucify. Others you will flog in your synagogues and pursue from town to town. And so upon you will come all the righteous blood that has been shed on earth, from the blood of the righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, whom you unalive between the temple and the altar. Truly, I tell you, all this will come on this generation.
Pete, what he just said. Who was given a better death than Messiah in verse 35?
Abel. And
the one that he sacrificed between the temple.
That's right. There you go. There you go, Deke. I almost call you Bishop. Yeah, Zechariah, right? Zechariah was, he said, murdered between the temple and the altar. Where was Messiah taken?
Outside the town.
Outside the temple, outside the city. This is gonna matter, yo. Everything I'm making big deals out of it because once you understand how God operate, because I'm gonna show at the very end why that mattered. What I just said, he was taken outside the city. Go ahead, teach.
Bro, they treat him like the scapegoat. Like, they took him outside the city to pass away, and letting him sit on the cross for as much time as he did. It's the same way how the scapegoat, when you let it go outside and it's supposed to pass away on its own.
Got it. Let's keep reading. Matthew, where we at? Verse what?
It was at 36 was the last verse I read.
Go ahead.
I started over. Truly, I tell you, all this will come on this generation. 37. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who unalive the prophets and stone those sent to you. How often have I longed to gather your children together as hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you are not willing.
I saw right there. What is God's heart right here, y'all? I've been pleading. I've been, oh man, if y'all can just get it, man, please just get it. If y'all can just get it, this is my heart. I'm trying to let y'all know that I want y'all to be in the chicken coop with me. But you were not willing. Now watch this. What'd he say next?
Look, your house is left to you desolate.
Your house is left desolate. He was supposed to be having a conversation of these are the wounds, right, that I received at the house of my friends. That can't even be a conversation now. Because now I'm leaving you desolate. What's the very next thing he say?
For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
And we already know what that is, right? We already know that no repentance. Everybody peeping so far how we walking through this thing? We got more. Y'all ready for more?
Let's go, bro.
I want to go to Deuteronomy real quick. I'm going to start showing some stuff. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. And go to 21. And somebody read 22 and 23.
I got you, bro.
Go ahead.
If someone guilty of a capital offense is put to death and their body is exposed on a pole, you must not leave the body hanging on the pole overnight. Be sure to bury it that same day, because anyone who is hung on a pole is under God's curse. You must not desecrate the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance.
Who got it?
Oh, wow.
Bro.
What you got, man?
That's what they did to Jesus, right?
What
So
kind?
they used God's son to desecrate God's land.
But watch this. What was the first thing you part of that? The very first sentence in 22.
If someone is guilty of a capital offense, they're put to death and their bodies exposed on a pole.
What was Jesus's offense? What was his capital offense?
He didn't have one. Being Jesus, that was his offense.
So being wrongfully convicted. But so Israel couldn't do it, so they had to unite with somebody who could do it and who can carry out this thing because it was no capital offense. Are y'all understanding what's really being said right here? It was no capital. Go ahead, Pastor.
They were trying to sneak around it. If you remember, when Judas came back and threw the money back at him, they wouldn't even accept the money. So it's like all of these different ways that they were trying to kill him outside of the custom and trying to escape, punishment for it. And hence the reason why they went to the Romans in the first place, because otherwise they thought Jesus was coming back to set up a kingdom to take the Romans down. They didn't like him. You know what I'm saying? But like we'll put all that to the side and we'll try to do all of these things, you know what I'm saying, to get you to do it outside of the realm of we are actually responsible for ourselves, although they were. But
100%. Yo, I hope y'all really seeing what God's heart is, and when it comes up against evil, like evil and wicked, but God's heart is always loving. It's always like got the bigger picture in mind. God knew we needed a savior from the very beginning. He knew all this stuff. So he even arranged it to where Abraham was going to show us a sample of what Messiah's death was supposed to look like. Then we get in Zechariah. This is what it's supposed to look like. Now I'm gonna go back somewhere. Let's read. Go to Deuteronomy 12 and somebody read 13 and 14. We're gonna go back to this burnt offering thing in Mount Moriah real quick. Somebody read Deuteronomy 12, 13 and 14.
Be careful not to sacrifice your burnt offerings anywhere you please.
What?
Anywhere you please.
Wait, hold on. Be careful not to sacrifice it anywhere
Be
you
careful.
please.
Yes, sir.
Watch this.
Yes, sir.
Finish it out, bro.
Offer them only at the place that the Lord will choose in one of your tribes, and there observe everything I command you.
So Abraham couldn't just walk in his backyard and do it.
No, because he also said, I will show you the place where to do it at. Is what he told Abraham.
So you can't even do the burnt offerings anywhere you choose. And then God eventually set it up to where everyone knows where to bring the offering, right? Eventually, the altar burnt offering became a staple somewhere in Jerusalem. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So everybody knew where to bring it. Now let's just go through this region. Like, okay, where did God say again? I'm gonna go back and do a little recap. Where did God tell Abraham to take Isaac?
Region of Moriah.
Mount Moriah.
Yep, to Mount Moriah, right? And God said, I'm gonna show you the exact place. So he could just go anywhere on Moriah, right?
No.
Ain't this some exact information? So let's go to 2 Samuel. We're gonna read some stuff real quick. Let's go to 2 Samuel 24. Let's read a few things. And we're gonna read, it's gonna be a few scriptures. Y'all ready to read a little bit? We're gonna read verse. We're gonna read verse 3. Somebody just read verse 3, because this is when David had took that census and stuff. Read 1 through 3, actually. Go ahead. Who got it?
I got you.
Go ahead.
After Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told, David is in the desert of En-Gedi. So Saul took 3,000 able young men from all Israel and set out to look for David and his men near the crags of the wild goats. He came to the sheep pens along the way.
Wait, where you at?
What
you reading? Where you reading at?
2
Samuel 2 Samuel 24?
No, I was in 1 Samuel 24. Let's try that again.
Yes.
Rewind.
All right,
again,
yeah.
the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he incited David against them, saying, Go and take a census of Israel and Judah. So the king said to Joab and the army commanders with him, Go throughout the tribes of Israel from Dan to Beersheba and enroll the fighting men, so that I may know how many there are. But Joab replied to the king, May the Lord your God multiply the troops 100 times over, and may the eyes of my lord the king see it. But why does my lord the king want to do such a thing?
So Joab knew this was a bad thing that David wanted to do. So, and Joab was not, if you know the story of Joab, he was not some like righteous dude who, was reverent toward the Lord. So he even knew what David was doing was off. I need to just throw that out there. Now we're going to read 10 through 25 because I want y'all to see about this Mount Moriah thing. So somebody read, keep reading, sis. Go down to 10. This is after David is, the Holy Spirit basically came and convicted him right now by what he just did. So, but I want to read something because I think this stuff is important. Go to 10 through 25.
Verse 10, David was conscience stricken after he had counted the fighting men. And he said to the Lord, I have sinned greatly in what I have done. Now, Lord, I beg you, take away the guilt of your servant. I have done a very foolish thing. Before David got up the next morning, the word of the Lord had come to Gad the prophet, David's seer. Go and tell David, this is what the Lord says. I am giving you 3 options. Choose one of them for me to carry out against you. So Gad went to David and said to him, shall there come on you 3 years of famine in your land, or 3 months of fleeing from your enemies while they pursue you, or 3 days of plague in your land? Now then, think it over and decide how I should answer the one who sent me.
Yeah, keep going. We're going to read it. We're going to keep going.
No, something stuck in my throat. Sorry.
Oh.
David said to Gad, I am in deep distress. Let us fall into the hands of the Lord, for his mercy is great, but do not let me fall into human hands. So the Lord sent a plague on Israel from that morning until the end of the time designated, and 70,000 of the people from Dan to Beersheba died. When the angel stretched out his hand to destroy Jerusalem, the Lord relented concerning the disaster and said to the angel who was afflicting people, enough, withdraw your hand. The angel of the Lord was then at the threshing floor of Araunah, the Jebusite.
That works.
When David saw the angel who was striking down the people, he said to the Lord, I have sinned. I, the shepherd, have done wrong. These are but sheep. What have they done? Let your hand fall on me and my family.
Stop right there real quick. So remember what the burnt offering is for. Y'all remember again, what is the burnt offering for?
Atonement.
For a sin, right? So atonement for a sin. So now David, I have sinned. I've done wrong. My conscience has got me. I'm sorry. Let your hand fall upon me and my family, not this nation, right? Y'all got that?
Yes, sir.
So pay attention to all those things because this is the important part right here. Go ahead and read, sis, now.
On that day, Gad went to David and said to him, go up and build an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite.
Stop. Who's the one that tell you where to go and build an altar? God, right? So the angel of the Lord, right? On that day, Gad went to David and said to him, go up and build an altar. So this is the prophet telling David where to build an altar, right? Let's see it. Let's see if God is, y'all think God consistent?
Yes, sir.
Of course.
Let's see if this Araunah, the Jebusite, the threshing floor, right, is where the altar wanted him to build. Where the Lord wanted him to build the altar on the threshing floor of Araunah, the Jebusite, right? Is that right? That's what he told. Pay attention to that part. So go ahead and finish out, sis.
So David went up as the Lord had commanded through Gad. When Araunah looked and saw the king and his officials coming toward him, he went out and bowed down before the king with his face to the ground. Araunah said, why has my lord the king come to his servant? To buy your threshing floor, David answered, so I can build an altar to the Lord, that the plague on the people may be stopped. Araunah said to David, let my lord the king take whatever he wishes and offer it up. Here are oxen for the burnt offering, and here are threshing sledges and ox yokes for the wood. Your Majesty, Araunah gives all this to the king. Araunah also said to him, May the Lord your God accept you. But the king replied to Araunah, no, I insist on paying you for it. I will not sacrifice to the Lord my God burnt offerings that cost me nothing.
Who heard that just now? Was she, huh? Who heard that David is a man after God's heart? Y'all hear that?
Yeah, cost me nothing.
It gotta cost me. But watch this though. So he's still talking to Araunah. He like, okay, let's finish that out. Go finish all the way down to 25.
So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen and paid 50 shekels of silver for them. David built an altar to the Lord there and sacrificed burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. Then the Lord answered his prayer in behalf of the land, and the plague on Israel was stopped.
So did it matter where he made the sacrifice?
Yes.
It mattered, right? Where did God tell him to go make this sacrifice? Where?
Right here at the threshing floor.
Of who? House.
Araunah the Jebusite.
So at Araunah's, we're gonna have to see if this is consistent now. You got something, Kimberly? Go ahead.
So I was just thinking here, right? Sacrifice, if we were to replace that word with pay a debt, because that's really what you're doing is paying a bill. Imagine if you were like, I'm gonna go pay my registration, you just threw $400 outside. Right? Like you just paid that debt wherever you felt like, oh, I'm gonna pay my electricity bill right here at the gas light. Just throw out the money for that bill. Like if you're paying a debt, then it kind of makes sense that you have to do it in a certain place. Like we don't just pay any other debt anywhere else, we feel like.
Very true. 100%. Now watch this. Somebody grab Second Chronicles. Well, you already going at it, Deidre. 2 Chronicles 3 and just read verse 1. 2 Chronicles 3 verse 1.
All right. Verse 1. Oh, wait, nope, that's Corinthians, not Chronicles. Hold on. You said 3, right?
Yeah.
Then Solomon began to build the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah.
Where?
Mount Moriah.
Where?
Mount Moriah.
Where
the Lord
keep
had
reading.
appeared to his father David. It was on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite, the place provided by David.
So is this the same place that Isaac was supposed to be offered?
Yep.
Yep.
Is this the same place Messiah was supposed to be offered?
Yeah.
Y'all see how important that is? Not just, all right. All right, I'm gonna slow down. What y'all got? What y'all got so far? How was Jesus supposed to die? How was he supposed to die?
In a specific way, at a specific place.
At a specific time, too.
Man.
Not only that, but they shouldn't have kept his body out as long as they did.
Because
right?
what did it say about a capital offense?
They're supposed to be buried immediately, not just out, so they don't desecrate God's land.
And he was out there for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the women that had to come and plead to take him down or something like that and prepare his body and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I got a question, bro.
Go ahead.
So the way that the Messiah was crucified, like where he was, so that was not the Father's original plan for it to happen like that.
No.
So why did it happen the way that it did?
Why did it happen the way it did?
Yeah.
Oh wow, anybody want to answer that quick? Go ahead, Teach.
I could be off too, but I was thinking they did it the way that they did. It's a sign of rejection. They rejected him. Like you don't. This is supposed to be a presentable offering to the Lord, like you said, specific place, time, and way, and they brutalized it. Like I was just thinking of how beautiful the sacrifice is supposed to be, and just in the way that they were supposed to offer it up, but yet they desecrated this thing. It's almost like a sign of, that's how I view it, as a sign of rejection.
100%, because there was an agreement that God was trying to make one last time. It's in Daniel 9, bro. We're gonna go over there, Fraser, real quick. I'm gonna show you something. So there was an agreement that God was trying to make, and just like all the other agreements, the if you do this agreements, y'all remember the if you do this, I'll do that agreements. What are those agreements called, real quick?
Bilateral contracts.
Bilateral contracts or covenants, right? If you do this, I'll do this. So when you break the contract, right? When you break the contract, you are basically breaking up the plan, the original plan, the original thing that we had an agreement with. And when you do those things, right? Do people go about their way and start living their life how they want to? Because they're not in that agreement anymore. We're gonna go somewhere with that in 1 second. So go to Daniel 9 real quick. Go ahead, Kimberly. Go to Daniel 9 real quick.
So in a perfect world, if Israel had decided to follow Messiah and pick up his ways and let him be teacher and yoke with him, then they would have become the actual light of the world and probably got the instructions on where to give him his wounds at what location. So they would have fulfilled his actual sacrifice, but it wouldn't have been done through the Roman Empire. They would have become his actual disciples, gone out into the world, teached his teachings, and then sacrificed him on Mount Moriah. Is that what I'm hearing, or am I way off?
No, that was the intent. That's all throughout the Old Testament. He was using those prophets to say if Israel would have accepted him, they would have became his priest, right? His disciples, priests, and go out, right, and do the same thing we're supposed to be doing right now. And then people would have started coming to the mount, God's mount, right? And from all over the world. That was the original plan. If they would accept the Messiah and did it the way God wanted them to do it. You got that? That's what you're asking, right, Kimberly? I want to make sure you're on the same page.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I was connecting the dots, that I wasn't skewing what was being said, understood.
Right, most definitely. So watch this. Let's go to Daniel 9. And this is for Fraser. This is why did they do it like this? So this was the last agreement right here, or the last thing God was trying to do with Israel before Messiah came. So in Daniel 9, I'm going to read 24, and I'm going to read 26, part of 26. I'm going to go that far. 77s are decreed, which is 490 years, are decreed for your people in your holy city to finish transgression, to put an end to sin, to atone for wickedness, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. Know and understand this: from the time the word goes out to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the anointed one, the ruler, comes, there will be 7 sevens and 62 sevens, which is 69 weeks. It will be rebuilt with streets in a trench, but in times of trouble. After 62 sevens, the anointed one will be put to death and will have nothing. All right, I'm gonna slow down. So Fraser, your question was, why did he die the way he did, right? That's the heart of the question. Is that right? I want to make sure.
Yeah.
So you remember how he was, what we're going through, how he was supposed to die was all of Israel was supposed to know that this is Messiah, and at a point in time he was going to walk willingly, like Isaac did with Abraham, to the altar of burnt offering, lay down his life. But think about this: when that was them accepting him. So like Teach said, when they rejected him, they treated him like a criminal. All right, I'm gonna give you an example. So Paul, remember Paul got beat up real bad in a city, in the streets, and he was almost beaten to death, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did he do after that?
So he got up, brushed himself off, went back into that same city.
Right. So when people rejected him in the flesh, or rejected Messiah in the flesh, it was almost like the opposite effect happened. Rather it being a situation where Messiah laid down his life, it's like, now we're gonna beat the life out of you. It's the opposite effect. It's like, I hate you so bad. You messing up everything for us. That's the mindset they had. So their mindset was, this one man is messing up our nation. So, and he's claiming to be God. He's blaspheming God. This is capital in their heart, in their minds. This is capital punishment. This is gruesome. So it's like an Old Testament thing, but they did him even worse than stoning him. They beat him really bad. 100%. So they beat him real bad. It was almost like it's the worst. It was worse than anyone that we read in the Bible because of the things he said and the following he had and things of that nature. They actually looked at him as, you're not. Remember they said, if your God come up off that cross, remember they told him that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a bloodthirsty thing. It's like the enemy is like showing what he would do if he had an opportunity to God himself and he could take him out. Like, this is how bad he'll do him. So he used people to do the exact opposite of what God was trying to do to him. Hold on one second. All right, we back. You understanding that now, bro?
Yeah.
I'm gonna read something and then we're gonna start closing. Go to Matthew 26. In Matthew 26, we're going to read a few things. I want to show something real quick. We're going to go down to verse number 50. Well, we're going to start in 57. Somebody read. Let's start in 57. Who got it?
I got you, bro. Those who had arrested Jesus took him from Caiaphas, the high priest, where the teachers of the law and the elders had assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance, right up to the courtyard of the high priest. He entered and sat down with the guards to see the outcome. The chief priest and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death.
All right, stop right there. They were doing what, bro?
Looking for false evidence.
To do what?
So that they could put him to death.
So, Derek, what do they want? What do they want?
Oh, bro, I'm sorry.
Huh?
I got sidetracked real quick. I'm sorry.
They wanted blood.
Wanted capital punishment.
They wanted blood.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted blood. They were, read that again, bro. They what? They were looking for what?
False evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death.
Keep going.
But they did not find any. Though many false witnesses came forward, finally, 2 came forward and declared, "This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days." Then the high priest stood up and said to Jesus, "Are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you?" But Jesus remained silent. The high priest said to him, "I charge you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God."
Watch this. Pay attention. Go ahead, bro.
You have said so, Jesus replied. But I say to all of you, from now on, you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "He has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need any more witnesses? Look, now you have heard the blasphemy. What do you think? He is worthy of death, they answered. Then they spit in his face and struck him with their fists. Others slapped him and said, prophesy to us, Messiah. Who hit you?
Let me give y'all an example of what just went on real quick. You caught that, Derek, real quick?
Yeah.
So they're already, it's almost like somebody approaching you and they want to fight you. Like, no matter what you say, I want to fight you. Who understand that?
Mm-hmm.
And if you say the wrong thing, who know what I'm saying? If you say the wrong thing,
they're just gonna fire off on you.
That's right. Did y'all? So I'm looking for something. I want to take you out. I don't want to do nothing God's way. I don't want to do nothing God's way. I want to take you out. Everybody hearing that clear? So as soon as he said what he said, he knew what it was coming with. He knew they had rejected him. He already knew all this stuff. But what did they do after he spit on him? Spit on him. And then did what? He started punching him.
Mm-hmm.
And slapped him. Backhanded slapping him numerous times. I'm gonna stop there today.
That's malicious. That's personal. That's very malicious.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop there today though. That's what we're gonna put our mark there today. I really hope we see God's heart, his intent, how he really want to set it up. And then, like, I'm gonna say this last thing. Y'all realize, like, that punching, kicking, slapping, and all that kind of stuff is like gonna be poured double portion back on. Yeah. So we're gonna stop there today. I'm gonna shut down YouTube and Facebook. We're gonna stay over here on TikTok and Zoom. We have a meeting afterwards. I gotta talk about our trip coming up here to California soon. Also, so we're gonna stay on Zoom and TikTok. We're gonna stop right there. And on our next Bible study, we got more to dig into, as y'all can see. So with that being said, I hope y'all learned something today. Go back, rewatch it, share God's heart through this, of course, is right there on display. Till next time, peace, grace, and love. Spend a lot of time with God, a little time with self. We out.